I want to clarify my stance real quick, okay? So my stance on this entire thing is that it's fine to criticize Steven. It's fine to criticize Destiny. But when you're doing it in public, on such a public stage, right? Because I'm sure clips and videos are going to surface of Destiny, like, debating IRL, right? What's going to happen is that a lot of his enemies will like use that and go, see, the left is infighting again. This is why it's better to be on the right, right? Or like display it as a sign of weakness, or to show that, like, oh yeah, people are trying to, like, this is division, right? They're going to be trying to sow division. They're going to try to instigate NotSoErudite, against Destiny, right? I don't think it'll happen. I think that NotSoErudite is incredibly loyal. But at the same time, I don't think that NotSoErudite is taking the best actions. Okay, that's my critique. However, I am trying to be a little bit more careful around my critique, because I do see a lot of unhinged, like, anti fan shit floating around, even in the DGG space. I feel like the vibes are a little bit off, okay? In the sense of, well, why don't you criticize someone like Counterpoints the same degree, or criticize Soypill to the same degree? Because I don't think NotSoErudite is criticized to the same degree as Soypill, even though they both occupy a same space. And Soypill, in my opinion, should be open to more criticism, just simply because Soypill is new here, right? NotSoErudite is like a veteran in the space, has been around for years, okay? Soypill is a new person, so he doesn't have the, he doesn't have the previous prior credibility that is needed in order to supplant the way that he is criticizing Steven. So the thing, like, especially in public like that, again, I'm not saying, like, again, you're free to criticize him, okay? But you have to understand the environment that you're in before you do something like that, okay? That's my opinion, all right? I don't think Destiny is bothered by this. I don't think, again, Destiny is a very emotionless, stoic person, okay? Guy barely smiles, okay? Bro is literally a rock, okay? That's not a good thing, okay? Because the thing is that I think in situations like this, like, if I was in Destiny's position, not to fucking like constantly, I don't know, be parasocial about it or anything. Like, I would tell a friend in a similar position, hey, by the way, I don't appreciate you calling me out like that in front of a crowd of my haters, okay? I don't appreciate that, okay? Because it makes me look bad, really bad, okay? So please do not do that, but I'm sure Steven himself does not care because he's a rock, okay? Oh wait, hold on. My super erudite friend just DM'd me. I actually don't think any of that holds IRL. The bigger issue is probably validation of the interpretation that Destiny's rhetoric is bad/violent. Like, look, even his friend thinks it's bad and he can't co-sign it. That is not a correct interpretation. Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree, okay? Because I've heard that argument before. Your argument is essentially, hey, in public, I'm trying to virtue signal that I'm not co-signing my friend's, fucking calls to violence, or potential calls to violence, or the interpretation of his calls to violence. But the problem is that I see that as, like, the way that I saw that was NotSoErudite essentially she is, what do you say? She is disavowing Destiny in public. That's what it looks like. What it looks like is that she is trying to virtue signal to the conservative crowd that she is disavowing Destiny in public, all right, in order to show them that she is not amongst that interpreted perception of instigated violence. Does that make sense? I phrased it really carefully here, okay? I think that if you try to interpret what I just said, I think it makes sense, okay? So, Destiny, we all agree that Destiny is not actually advocating for violence, right? He is trying to make a statement which purpose is to hold a mirror up to the Republicans, right? So if the purpose is to, like, hold up a mirror to the Republicans, right? Notice that Destiny does not act in a way similar to people on Blue Sky, to people on TikTok. He does not act like that, right? Like, for example, he isn't celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, right? If anything, he acknowledges that it has made things worse. He wants the shooter to be hanged, okay? Day one, he said this day one, by the way. Day one, he said he wants the shooter to be hanged, all right? So he wants the shooter dead. He has also said so many other things like, oh yeah, please do not think that I am trying to support political assassinations. I am totally against it. And his record also shows that. He constantly denounces stochastic terrorism done by the left, all right? By lefties and by the righties, okay? Constantly, okay? So when NotSoErudite goes up there to disavow, to present to the conservatives this interpretation, this delusion of theirs, you are feeding into their delusions. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. You're doing it at a detriment to the United States of America, okay? Because you're feeding into the double standards. You're feeding into that double standards, okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully I've made my position clear, or understand where my position comes from. You can disagree if you want, okay? You can disagree if you want, okay? But whatever. I don't see that. If she specifically immediately disavowed the MAGAs that clap for her, that does not matter. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't, okay? Because you can disavow directly the MAGAs that started clapping for her, while at the same time she is still enabling their delusions. If anything, wouldn't that be a bad thing? Because she is saying, I am not on your side, but I still agree with you that your delusions are correct. Does that make sense? Like, you're saying, yes, even though I am totally against you, I support your delusion. That's crazy. You're just reinforcing that delusion 5 times if she didn't say that, right? That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing, right? Just admit you're wrong, okay? Jesus. Anyway.
I watched your video titled, Is Destiny Losing the Public Support, with Andrew JD, which he's another person on UFA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to focus specifically on some of the characterizations you made of actions taken by the left or the Democratic Party regarding censorship and banning of conservatives that I think, to be frank, you're out to lunch on.
Okay.
So I just want to, before I start to go through the things that I've listed, I just want to know what your general, I guess, position or thoughts are on kind of what happened between, 2015, 2016 to, today, as far as censorship of conservative voices.
It's the same.
Hey Darius, you look like you wear a mop for a head. That's what you look like. You wear a mop for a head. You wear a mop on your head. You wear a mop on your bald head. Okay. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. So I think what happened is that there was kind of a large SJW cultural zeitgeist that emerged. That's a cute PFP.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Do we have a camera today?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I had my virtual cam on. I don't use cam, but I can turn that on. I don't know. I know you said like camera required, so I don't know.
Yeah, I prefer camera. Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm live right now. I'm streaming as well, but I don't cam up for like dozen reasons. I don't. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. I don't want it. It's not working actually. Why is my virtual cam not working? It should be working. That's bizarre. I don't know
I'm just going to give a shout out to John. Thank you, Gentleman Johnny. No, we can just get going. Thank you, Gentleman Johnny, for the $5. Okay. Thank you, everyone, to all the subs coming in. I'm muting them because obviously I don't want to disrupt the conversation. I am seeing them and I really appreciate the money that's being sent in. And hopefully you guys are being mostly good and not straining the mods too much. Be mean to me. Don't attack my looks though or anything like cringe because I don't want to make people feel... No, not you. I'm talking to my chat. Don't attack my looks because I never want anyone coming on that they... Yeah, when we go to looks, I think it always sets up a bad precedent in the chat. Don't attack my guests' looks. Attack ideas. You can attack my ideas. Try to actually engage with what I'm saying and try to actually engage with what the guest is saying, but I know that...
I mean, I feel like the extent of my fucking... personal insults is that, like, I just call people retarded, which is fine, right? That's a norm in the space, right? Like, a norm in the space is to call people retarded. I don't think anybody actually has an issue with that, no? Hopefully not.
But that's a really high bar to establish. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Hey, so, well, first I wanted to say, Hey, I was canvassing in Ohio. We met there. You're pretty cool. I've generally liked your content.
Thanks.
When I get to see it, I think you're cool.
Thanks. I'm going to be super mean because you're not camming. It like nosedives viewers. So just try to be, I'm going to have you kind of in and out. So go quick to your thing. I appreciate the compliments though.
Yeah. So I haven't been watching all of the like previous callers. So, but I think it did get brought up. So in your like the actual Reddit post itself, you wrote that the second one is kind of the one that I want to get on, which is the criticism and disagreeing with strategies, not infighting. So I'm sure you've heard the
UFA gate. Yeah,
the UFA thing. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard it overall.
I have.
Could you just expand? So I think I've mostly understood like your kind of disagreement with that, like critique that you shouldn't have gone on at that event and doing it. Can you?
How the hell are you gonna say don't judge by looks when you got a guy looking like Halloween Gandalf? Well, because it's fucking October. Jesus, get into your fucking Hallows Eve spirit.
Like kind of just restate kind of your position on that, and then I'll see if I have an issue with it.
Sure. So basically, I think the only reason to argue against it is that like it might be somewhat optically harmful to Destiny himself, although there's been no evidence of that I've seen so far. Nobody's using the clip. Are
you saying that beard wasn't real? Yeah, that beard is just to hide his balding head, okay?
Trying to think what else. Fuck, my mind literally just went blank.
Okay, so I think just on that, if maybe the rest of it will come back.
Oh, and I think it's purity testing. Right? I'm basically at the point where I'm like, oh, it seems like it's purity testing because there's no material harm, and nobody has said to me that this like disagreeing in a public venue is like inherently wring, which I don't think anyone would argue.
Yeah, so I don't think disagreeing in a public venue is necessarily like harmful. And I think I have more of an issue with Soypill doing it in that particular, like at that event.
Plans for Halloween? None. I'm just gonna do my regular drama slop / political shit
event than I did with you doing it. But basically, so my issue with Soypill doing it is.
Bro, listen, my career is popping off right now. Okay, I gotta capitalize on this shit. I gotta grind as hard as I could. Okay. Because otherwise, I don't think I'll ever have an opportunity like this to grind my career ever again. Yeah, I really do think so. Guys, you guys should join my Discord server, discord.gg/foodshops. We have the best community in this entire space. Like, straight up. It's just best. That's it. If you removed all the negatives from DGG and took all the cool people from DGG and put them into one place, that's my Discord server, okay? All right.
That Soypill was doing it, and he had also literally a few days before on a Wiki panel had the exact same conversation, was just rehashing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my sort of issue, I think you're right. I don't think you can like point to like.
So it's not a moral harm.
Material harm that's come to it.
Okay, so it's not a moral harm. It's not a material harm.
Sure, kind of. Well, I don't think you can like demonstrate the material harm. I think.
What's the material harm?
I don't know that it's necessarily like I don't think it's like a super like, oh my god, you're like evil for having done this or whatever. But
sure.
Certainly, and I you pointed out, I think Soypill also did it. Like immediately when you guys were doing the criticism, a bunch of the MAGA people were like started clapping and stuff, and I think you turned around and like, oh, you don't want to clap for me, like you're not gonna like what I have to say or something, right?
Yeah.
I think there is something to that, which is like, you know that those people are gonna like that there's gonna be, oh, here's a liberal who disagrees with this guy and agrees with us, and certainly there is the appearance of that. Now you're obviously gonna say, and I would agree that you don't agree with all like it's not for the same reasons or whatever that they're clapping for you. You don't like want them to clap for you, whatever. But
I denounced it.
Certainly there is that it hurts the way that Destiny looks because hey, here's these other people that are on his side and they agree with us. So certainly there's that, and they shouldn't agree with you because they would for the reasons that the whole criticism exists because they don't denounce violence on their side. So like that sort of thing, right? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Okay, so do you think that liberals would be turning away from Destiny because I disagreed with him there?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. Do you think that MAGA people who were there, who might have been leaning towards being convinced by Destiny, would then be moved away from his position or moved away from the left in general because of my question?
Possibly, yeah. So I think on that sense, I don't think it's like, if not for you, then they would be whatever. I don't think necessarily, but
I don't look, listen. I don't think the goal here is to convince the people in the audience, okay? The people in the audience is completely delusional, okay? They're a bunch of Charlie Kirk simps, MAGA voters, okay, except for that one cool girl, I guess. But like the rest of them were just like cringe, all right? Like they were there to heckle, they were there to harass, right? They weren't there to have like a good faith conversation a lot of the time, okay? Like that one night, all right? However, I will say that the reason why it's kind of important is because there is a down the stream effect from doing something like that, right? If you're advocating on a larger scale that Democrats should not unilaterally like denounce or disavow any kind of like instigated violence or whatever, call to violence, whatever on the left, I think that is also a part of it, right? Your friend coming up there to challenge you on your beliefs is also technically a part of that. So when you're trying to do something like that, you also have to practice what you preach as well. But at the same time, from NotSoErudite's perspective, maybe she doesn't realize that down the stream effects is that it's not really working out. I don't know. It's just fucking okay. I just stand by with my original statement. We'll see how this goes. Okay, we'll see how Zip Zip goes.
I do think it sort of leans into like.
Do you think there would be a difference if Erudite did it with a panel like Steven that debate? If she did it as a panel online, I think that is a different context than IRL, right? Because the thing is that if it's a panel online, it might not be seen by as much people. At the same time, technically, it still isn't a good idea if you believe in political unity. However, if you're a content creator and you believe in calling out your friends for the content, and you believe that the cost-benefit analysis is worth it, as in you think that you making your content is more worth it than any kind of harm to the nation or harm to your movement could bring from that one debate, which isn't that much harm in comparison, right? Then fine, go for it, right? But the thing is that every single time you do something like that, where you call out your own side and there's infighting or there's a lack of unity or disunity, what happens is that there's an invisible number that is slowly ticking down, okay? That invisible number is like the total downstream effects that could result in perpetuating the double standards poisoning of this nation, right? That's what's going on. I think that if you're going to lead a movement, you should lead on example. And, if you're the leader of like, oh yeah, we should reverse this double standards poisoning that is going on, I like by doing the same edgy shit, it's probably not a good thing that one of your closest associates or friends is using your friendship in order to undermine your position, right? So, yeah, that's my view of it. Panels are made for a disagreement, but the UFA tour is literally to counter brain dead conservatives, right? The people who are supposed to be aligned with UFA during that is supposed to be united. The point is that they're supposed to be all united, a united front, all right? Very good thing, okay? But the problem is that if you have disagreement, if you're not falling in line, all right, it is perceived as weakness, okay? It is perceived as weakness not by the left, but also by the right, okay? And optically, it doesn't help, okay? Sorry, it just doesn't help the Democrats either, okay? Down the line, all right?
Oh, yeah. I was like kind of on the fence of like whether Destiny's right on this, but here's this quote unquote, like I'm not saying this, but like people will say like, oh, token liberal, like agreeing with me and saying that, oh, he's super bad for doing this or whatever.
Sure. So I guess how many hearts and minds do you think I like swayed from Destiny? I know you can't know. None of us can know the answer.
I could
speculate a percent you think it might have been though.
Percent of who? So percent of the people in the audience.
Yeah, people in the audience. People in the audience and the viewers. Whoever was watching
Destiny?
It. Against Destiny, yeah.
I don't think necessarily a massive percentage, but I think you might have entrenched the people who were already believing it.
So the MAGA people who weren't moved and were never going to move might.
I don't think any of them were never going to move, but I think you might have caused some people who maybe were on the fence or like maybe being a little receptive to it. I think you might have pushed them further away from it.
SRM.
Okay, so people who are entrenched MAGA people who basically hated everything Destiny said, and then heard a liberal basically go, "Wouldn't this be a better tactic to pull people to our side?" They went, "Yeah, fuck the left."
Yeah, but even more so because here's the left person that's saying it. I know it's not going to be a super convincing argument, and I can't like demonstrate that happened or anything, but that's also not my main thing necessarily. But yeah, I think it's not a good look. I would think to have like two of the other people on the tour, also like coming on and agreeing with the people critiquing, which is not to say that it's like purity testing or whatever, that you can never disagree, that you can never critique. But I think in that particular venue like that, like Soypil had done it a few days before on the WIC panel that he called in after the WIC panel, right? And he said the same things and he just wasn't satisfied.
I don't think it's that bad so far. I think that people are saying, oh yeah, Zip Zip should have gone harder, I guess. But I think that Zip Zip was probably like genuinely trying to convince NotSoErudite on this. Like what it sounds like is that he's genuinely trying to convince her, as in not just like putting on a show or a performance to own her in the marketplace of ideas. Like this is what it kind of sounds like to me. I would have gone harder personally, but you know, whatever. Isn't that bad?
That's fine with that. So that's why he came up at the Unfuck America tour to ask the same questions, right?
I could be
wrong.
like you guys were like, feel free to disagree with me.
It's not like you guys were hurting for like people asking questions, so you guys were like, oh, let's go in us two.
No, I wanted to ask a question, and so did Swipo. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Radiant, has there been any time where you've debated, like ever? Like when like I don't think I've ever seen a live stream where you were debating, or any kind of debate for that matter.
If there's tangible evidence of it doing optic harm, if Destiny came up to me afterwards and was like, hey, I really didn't appreciate that, I would just be like, okay, that's super fair. I apologize about that. If Z came up to me afterwards and was like, hey, this is not what we're doing, I would totally consider that. But none of that happened. No conservative came up to me afterwards. Only liberals and moderate liberals came up to me and they're like, I really, really appreciated that, while still seeing me like supporting the entire event.
Sure. Sure, that's possible. And I think earlier you had said like, am I going to be pushing liberals away? I mean, you've seen that at the very least what it accomplished. Well, I don't know. I don't know what your goal was, which I would imagine what your necessary goal was, and it seems obvious as you were trying to convince Destiny, or like, you know,
yeah, I was trying to persuade him.
Certainly a side effect was you had a lot of people thinking.
Well, then my question would be, why didn't you try persuading him in private, right? That would be my next question. My next question would be, why didn't you try persuading him in private? Why did it have to be public? Sure.
That you're like solely, or like, you know, you're a centrist or whatever. But okay, I mean, I see what you mean. I don't think I'm going to necessarily convince you on that.
AI doing posting, boring.
In general. That's
AI
mostly
debates,
my
boring.
on that particular point. I think on the third point, kind of like moving on to that one, you wrote, it is always worth the 2 calories needed to denounce political violence.
Yeah, just to be clear, just to say this, I think me asking that question is way less of a bad look. I think it's a neutral look at best, because almost nobody was there, denounced Republicans, or it shows that we can like question each other reasonably and in good faith. I actually think the DGG response to me asking that question is a way worse look, like way worse.
Depends. Like,
it just looks unhinged. Just like, she asked a question at an event and everyone's like,
yeah, I think there's a lot of unhinged people that are like going to. I think you're going to see a lot more like the unhinged people like going crazy about you. I don't think that was like. I think the really, really crazy people are like a minority compared to like people with reasonable critique in general. But maybe you'll disagree. You would know better than me, so I don't know.
Okay.
But maybe you're right.
I'm probably gonna wrap you up then. We're just gonna like.
Sure. No, you're probably right. No, did you not think about this enough? I mean, listen. I can listen. Maybe I'm just a little biased towards it. Okay, but like, did you not think about this enough? Because, I wonder.
One last thing on the third point. So it's always worth the 2 calories needed to denounce political violence. So
you're conceding. Why are you conceding?
So what do you mean when you say this? Because when I read this, and every time, like, you know, it's been a struggle session for like a million, like for however many weeks ever since the Charlie Kirk thing about this particular take from Destiny. Every time I see people will like super like narrow it on like, oh, you said conservatives need to be afraid, or you said whatever, or the Pierce panel. But even on the Pierce panel, Destiny did denounce political violence. He beforehand denounced political violence. He has done it every time.
Yeah, but when they did the litmus test, he wouldn't, right? He wouldn't do it, which is exactly what they want, right? Which is why like the conservatives were just like,
sure, but he has done it. That's the thing, right? He has.
Yep, and every time pro-Palestinian people won't do the litmus of the pro-Palestinian, I think it's really bad. I think it's a bad look because it takes 2 calories to be like, yeah, of course I ignore Hamas. I think Adam Mockler is the example I keep giving, where I think he threads this line a lot better than myself and Destiny, which is that he denounces it and then immediately can pull out the same gun that got used on him to turn it on the person and the president, right? Which I just think is way more tactically effective. Sure. Like way more. I think most moderates look at that and they go, yeah, of course they denounce violence. Wait, they're right. The president literally won't. And then adding in, now Adam Mockler's maybe using the Destiny line. I don't know if he came up with his own, but he's being like, you're holding a YouTuber to a higher standard than the president. Also a super good line.
Adam Mockler, I think, is literally using the Destiny line. I mean, he did an interview with Josiah Pondering Politics. And
dude, do you think Adam Mockler is going to end up as a lefty? Dude, that would suck so bad. Dude, if Adam Mockler just gets on a call with Hassan, dude, it's fucking over, dude. Oh my god.
Was wearing DG hoodie and said that he like was taking this from Destiny.
Okay, cool.
But like, so.
Okay, never mind. All right, never mind. We're safe. Okay, he's not going to become leftified.
I guess it depends what the strategy is. So like, when Destiny went on the Pierce panel, right? He was like, for a while he like wouldn't say like whether he would denounce it or not. But like I think that's part of the point is you're pointing out hypocrisy, right? You care a lot whether I denounce political violence, but you won't care about the president. So I think on that point it is. But also
I think it's a litmus gun. It's a litmus gun that they can.
And Destiny is not.
Yeah, but he gave them.
I don't know
like,
much about
he just gave them
Adam
that like
Mockler, so
that clip that just like
I
looks
can't say
really bad,
anything.
where like he just
Sure.
won't do it.
It looks bad, but it's not actually bad, right?
Yeah, I didn't say he did something
didn't
morally
actually
wrong.
say you should go.
Wait, I didn't say that he did something morally wrong. I said it's tactically ineffective.
Yeah,
I think it would be more tactical to take the gun, deflect it immediately by being like, of course I denounce the violence done against Charlie Kirk. Why won't your fucking president? I just think that that's way more effective.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I could agree with that if, to put it like back to you, like, can you demonstrate that that strategy lost Destiny viewers, or if it lost him subscribers, or if whatever, right?
I think it is forever
but
now
when
an
I
attack
see like
vector.
that, right? I'm thinking like that, it like all publicity is good publicity kind of thing. Like Destiny will look unhinged or whatever, but then you can look further past the bad clip of like, oh, he's saying conservatives need to be afraid, and then you can look at what he actually said, and it's like, oh, he's not actually saying
Adam
like
is
you should go do political violence. He's
DGR?
saying
Oh.
this way more like.
Well, then why not help out Destiny? I mean, like, dude. Okay, technically, Destiny isn't entitled to his clout, right? Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think. I don't think that. I think that Adam Mockler has more clout than Destiny at this point. But I mean, it's not like they're not within reach, right?
Correct thing, which is that, hey, we should all be afraid of political violence because it causes us to behave in a way that will make it less likely to happen, right? So, I mean, obviously, it's like there's like other things which, like, you know, apparently people are trying to prosecute him or whatever the fuck. But I think on that sense, I don't think it was necessarily negative for him. But yeah, I'm wrapping up.
Okay.
You have a final thing?
I think it just was a negative thing. I think it like is forever going to be a clip that can be like utilized against him,
Backed
not
him up?
for MAGA people, but for moderates. I think moderate, like normie people who are politically uninformed, think that that looks like pretty terrible. Yeah, and I think that more importantly, if that tactic got taken on by the larger body of the left, I think that will be bad for us with the appeal to the politically uninformed normie retard. Yeah, woohoo vote.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Have a good rest of your call-ins.
Adam plays it pretty low-key. No, that's a good thing. Fuck it, that's a good thing. I mean, like, normally, as much as I want people to collaborate and stuff like that, I realize that I realize that sometimes it's a fucking hairy issue. Yeah. Fuck.
You sober up. All right.
Okay. Who this? Oh, Bulge.